All right, all right. I'm still waiting for all of the channels to tell me that they're broadcasting. Let's see. Let's see. We've got quite a few channels that we're broadcasting to right now. I am so excited to be here with y'all today. Now, I am going to tell you all I am still having trouble with this camera on the new computer. So I'm trying my best to look at the camera so we can have a conversation like we like to. But you know what? Some of that may not happen as well as we'd like. Okay. So just please give me a little bit of grace. I'm super, super excited again to be here with y'all today. We're going to be talking about one of the things that absolutely helped me break free in my business. And that's why I wanted to bring it to you with the Empowered Entrepreneur, which is our fourth Thursday class. So, for those of you who are new to me and my body of work, I'm JJ Conway. Retired Air Force veteran after 23 years. I'm a John Maxwell executive director. I do Ramsey coaching. I do a lot of things to basically help you win with money. And that comes with wealth management. That comes with understanding how to invest. And I like the real estate and stock market. And that also comes with learning how to create multiple streams of income. All right. And so for me, one of the things that I'm very passionate about is not just the checklist of what it is somebody needs to do to succeed. We're going to talk about it a little more detail in a second because I just want to give people time to get in. But a lot of times we do the things and we're so frustrated because we do the things, but we're not getting the results that others get. Now look, you and I both know that sometimes the results others get, it's not really the results they get. It's the results they trump up for. I probably shouldn't use that word anymore. It's the results they fluff up for social media and for attention and exposure and things like that. Okay, let's be real about it. But there's still a lot of us out there who are working hard and we're doing the things our mentors have told us to do. We're doing the things that we know to do. We're doing the things that we feel inspired to do, and yet still our business is not making any money. We're not reaching the lives. We're not getting the testimonials. We're not getting the things that we should be getting for how hard we're working. We're not getting the things we should be getting for how much money we're putting into this business, this nonprofit. We're not getting what we should be getting for how much of our energy, how much of our inner energy we're pouring into this thing. Because if you're with me today, you're probably not just clocking in on your dream 9 to 5, right. You're pouring into your dream. You're pouring your heart and your soul and your body and your time and your energy. And if anybody will be honest with me, there have been times when I've neglected my husband and my kids for the sake of my dream. I'm not necessarily proud of that, but let's all be real. As an entrepreneur, sometimes we get a little distracted. There have been times in my life where I've neglected my faith for the sake of my business. And y'all, I've been pastoring for 7 years. So that's really bad. But you know what? Every time the Lord opens up my eyes that I done set him into second place again, I'm just like, oh, Lord, thank you for your grace and mercy. Because we do tend to get things misaligned, right? But the thing is, that's because we're so passionate about what we're doing. And I am so passionate about helping people, especially women of color, achieve financial independence. I'm so passionate about helping people, especially my ladies out there, achieve home ownership, invest in the stock market, retire with dignity, have something in their pocket while they still have health and energy left to enjoy it. Anybody with me? Say, if you were with me today, I want you to put in the chat, I want that. If you want to retire with dignity, health, and strength, put in the chat, I want that. If you want to retire and be able to spend time traveling and you don't have to waste time at these toxic jobs, put I want that. Even if you don't want to think about retiring, I know some of you in your 20s and you're like, that's a long ways away. But if you would like to just wake up in the morning, if you would like to just wake up in the morning and love what you do and get excited about what's happening today, put in the chat, I want that. If you are tired of toxic coworkers and toxic bosses controlling your life and telling you when you can and can't take time off, and you're ready to dictate your own terms and live life on your own terms, put in the chat, I want that. All right. Because that is what this is all about. And we have a series of classes that I do every Thursday. Every first Thursday is our, excuse me, every first Thursday is our fireside chat. That's when y'all can ask me questions, any question about business or finance, and really any question about anything. I'm a pretty much open book. But our second Thursday is our seven-figure business building. How do we create multiple streams of income? So last week we talked about how to start your podcast for only $20, and you could actually start it for free with some of the tools that I gave you. You just wouldn't have the same distribution and features, but you could do it. You could do it. I'm a big fan of getting started, test the market, and then pour money into it. Like, make sure it works first, right? And this is the gal who would put hundreds and thousands of dollars into Facebook ads, and then nothing would work. And finally, one of my mentors was like, well, why don't you start testing the market for free? Because if your free don't work, it's not going to work any better if you pour gasoline on it by paying for advertising. Because anything times zero is still what? Zero. And we're not working so hard. We are not working this hard. We are not giving our time, blood, energy, and strength to end up with zero. So that's every second Thursday. Every third Thursday is where Building Wealth Together began. That is our real estate investment group. Meets on that time. I mean, everybody meets on that time, but that's specifically on real estate investing. And so I think we talked about commercial real estate the last third Thursday. Hey, wait a second. Was last week the third Thursday? No. Today's the fourth Thursday. Yes. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about podcasting. Last week, we talked about commercial, and I kind of forgot it because my traffic was delayed, and I taught it from the car, y'all. No, I taught it from the football game. Oh, y'all, look at my son's new shirts. Oh, look at it's got his name and number on the back. Y'all, I want y'all to lift a young brother up, because you know what? This brother ain't got nobody pregnant. This brother ain't been in and out of juvie. This brother ain't done any of the things that I was worried about, other than a little bit of smelling himself at times, and a little bit of attitude that he got, pretty quite honestly, from his mama. So y'all lift the young man up, and if y'all want, drop him a little encouragement and love in there, especially those of you who know my son Philip Wiggins. Okay, what was I saying? Oh, I guess I'm excited about my son. All right, but that was last week. Yeah, I was at his game, so the Texas Heat, they kept stopping the game every 4 minutes so that the players could rest. I mean, rightfully so. Like, I'm not mad at them for messing up my broadcast. I'd really rather my son be healthy. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I ended up teaching that from the from the football game. You don't probably want to watch that one. But today is our every fourth Thursday. It is our empowered entrepreneur. And today we're going to talk about things that help you, as we always do on the fourth Thursday. How do you be the person that has what you want? Because it's not always about checklists, and it's not always about doing the right thing. Now, I want you to do the right thing. As a person of faith, I want you to do the right thing. I certainly don't want you to go somewhere and say, well, JJ Conway told me I didn't need to do the right thing. At the same time, though, you could do all the right things and not get the result that somebody else gets. And it's not your fault usually. Because, yeah, okay, you could be a little more disciplined. We all know we could be a little more disciplined. Yeah, you could probably put a little more time and energy into your business. You know, you could probably watch a little bit less TV. You could probably read one more book. You could probably do all those things. And the more you do, the better it gets. Yet at the end of the day, sometimes the reason we're not getting what we need, because we haven't become the kind of person that resonates with the people who have the missing piece to our puzzle. And so what I'm going to talk to you about today is going to help you fill in that gap. It's going to help you unlock that success, because you're going to develop something. I know you heard purpose, vision, and goals before, but I'm telling you, you haven't heard it like this today. All right. You're going to unlock something in your life, in your relationships, in your wealth building, in your business, in your self-expression, in your physical strength and your physical health. You are going to, in your spiritual growth, even in the spiritual realm, y'all, you're going to unlock something that you have never unlocked before when you hear purpose, vision, goals, the way I'm going to talk to you about it today. And I guarantee you, this is not the same old, oh, you got to make a SMART goal. I want you to make SMART goals. I like SMART goals. SMART goals focus on something that's reasonable, and it's time bound, and it's something that you can actually do. I like that. I like that. But it's not the whole piece of the puzzle. In fact, a lot of people who, when you sign up for their class and you go to their conference and you to show up on their Zoom, a lot of people who are teaching you SMART goals, their businesses are failing too. And they're desperately grasping at you, hoping that you will pay money to get in there so that they can get what they need out of life. They need this class too. Yeah, I said it. All right. So I know you've heard of purpose, vision, goals. It's not the same old SMART goals. We just talked about that. Let me tell you what this also isn't. This isn't a BHAG, okay? And when any of us, we've gone to these conferences, we've gone to these workshops, and like, you got to have a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. You got to have something that's so big it scares you. Yes, yes. I want you to get outside of your comfort zone. Y'all know, wait. Do I have it here? Y'all know one of my favorite quotes. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So I'm going to want you to get out of your comfort zone. I'm going to want you to come up with a C-type goal that allows you to stretch and grow and make something more out of your life than just what you already know that you can do. See, a lot of us today, we play it safe with things that we already know we can do because, you know, we're not trying to look like a fool. We're certainly not trying to look like a fool on social media, and we are not trying to look at a fool like a fool and around all of our family that's trying to pull us back down into the crab bucket that they're still in. So it's time out for all of that. Okay. So I get it. I get it. You got to have the big dream. You got to have the big goal. If it doesn't scare you just a little bit, it's probably not big enough. But how many, you don't have to put this in the chat unless you just want to share a story, all right? But how many of us have gone to these rah-rahs and we get in there and we write our big, hairy, audacious goal, and then we go back down to home and the plumbing is broken and the kids are sick and the check engine light on the car comes on, and before you know it, you have forgotten about that BHAG. And when you look at it, when you do remember about it, it just makes you sad. It makes you angry. It makes you frustrated that somebody else gets to do that and you're stuck in this mess. Now, I know people feel me on that today because I know I'm not the only one that's lived that life. But I'm telling you today, you can break free of that life and you can begin walking in abundance. You can begin having power over the direction of your life. And it starts when we with our purpose. Okay, so I've covered some reasons why the previous purpose statement you wrote may not have worked for you, and if you've never done one before, good. You know, I know some of you on here today are not going to like this reference because I did say I have been pastoring for a while, but it's almost like I much rather have somebody new come into the church than somebody who is really steeped in something that they know is wrong, but they don't want to admit it, so they're just gonna right. So if you've never done purpose, vision, goals before, I'm super happy that you're here today because you're going to start off doing it the right way. And if you have done it before, I'm going to encourage you to listen with an open heart and with open ears, because this is not the same old, and I promise you it will make the difference. Okay. So I with oops, I clicked something. I hope y'all are still there. I heard a beep on the computer. Oh, I hope y'all are still there. Okay, hold on, please still be there. Okay. Can somebody drop me some likes or loves or something so I know that y'all are still there? Or you can just put in the you can just put in the chat I'm here because I don't see anybody. Okay. Oh, wait. There we go. There we go. It says we got some people on. Okay, good. Whew. I was like, whew, what happened? Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the reason that some of these things don't work. I want you to think about what a purpose is supposed to be for. Like, what's the purpose of having a purpose? Right? Why do we even have a purpose? And if you want to, you can drop it in the chat. If you want to, you can just PM it to me and I'll drop it in the chat later. But well, why? Why do we even have a purpose? Some of us, we come up with a purpose because, well, we went to the conference and we went to the business thing and they said your business needs to have a purpose that customers like and they really resonate with, so they'll give you their money. Okay, I get that. Not knocking that, right? It's just not powerful enough to get you through when you come home from that great thing and life is a mess and your spouse doesn't want to have anything to do with you and your kids are acting all up and you got to go to the principal's office 20 times. But to do that, you got to take off work and that's going to cost you another $200. Plus you got to take the train across town. You know, like it's just, money is a great motivator, y'all. But at the end of the day, money does not motivate. the way purpose motivates. And so I would share with you today that the way I look at purpose, not just as something cutesy and nice to say that's like a guiding light for my business so that people will like it, but the purpose is why we're doing what we do. It's the filter through which we make all of our life decisions. And you say the filter through which I make all of my life decisions. Well, my purpose for my business is to make $1 million next year. I like that one, right? I like that one. Hey, I'm with you on that one. I'm a stand and agree with you on that one, because the more good people have more money, the more good people can do in the world, right? So I want you to make $1 million next year. At that same time, though, my purpose for my business being I'm going to make $1 million next year, my purpose for my life being I'm going to make $1 million next year, kind of excludes some things that might actually be important, like your health. Entrepreneurs, I know you proud of yourself, burning the candle at both ends. Oh, well, I only get 4 hours of sleep at night. I cannot believe the number of people I go to conferences and hear that, and they're like so proud of themselves, right? Like, I only sleep 3 hours. I do this, and this, and I have this kind of a routine, and I can sleep when I'm dead. Yeah, you go sleep when you're dead. But I okay, I'm not gonna preach because I don't agree with that. But here's something that I also don't agree with. It doesn't do me any good to hit the number I want to hit. And I know I'm called to change communities. So the number I've got on my heart, the number I've got on my heart, because I know I'm called to change communities, because I know that I've been called to make an impact in the lives of people who look like me, because I know that I'm called to something even bigger than I can even dream or imagine, the number on my heart is approaching 10 figures. And so for me, that's not enough if my family has left me. If my kids don't ever want to come home for Christmas. They only come out of obligation because they want to get a check from mom. That if I don't have the health and strength to enjoy it, what good? What good does it do me to be a billionaire and have no health and strength to enjoy it? That money, that money can't buy happiness. Now it can help. It can buy a lot of nice things. All those shirts say, well, money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy chocolate, and that's kind of close. Hey, money, what is it? What does my favorite book say? Money answers for all things. Money will take care of so many things and make your life so much easier. I want you to have money. But when I was laying in that emergency room, and I wasn't sure I was ever going to get my mind back after that car accident, and I didn't know I was ever going to be able to answer the doctor's questions correctly, because they would ask me, "What is this?" And it would take a long time for me to think it's a pen. And then I couldn't get it out of my mouth fast enough for the doctor to actually hear the answer, because he was already asking the next question. And then when it finally came out of my mouth, the word that came out of my mouth wouldn't be pen, it would be cup or something like that. And I laid there in that emergency room alone. A friend had brought a charging cord, but she was like, I got kids in the car, I gotta go. Everybody else was like, hey, we visited you the last time you got into the emergency room, and that's all. That's it. I got a life to live. I got other stuff to do. Now look, I'm going a little bit off script here, because some of you are like I was. I built a very independent life because I was never going to depend on somebody else for my livelihood, for my food, for my clothing, for none of that. You were never going to be able to take me down, because I was not going to be vulnerable enough to let you. And one of the things that I learned in that emergency room the second time, because the first time everybody rallied around me like, oh my goodness, we're here for you. We'll cook for you, and we'll help you with your kid, and we'll do this, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. And 6 months later, when I was having seizures at physical therapy, and they said, she's not healing up, we need to get her to the emergency room. That time I discovered, when you build an independent life and you don't include others on your journey, guess what? They are not there for you on your journey. because they are used to you never needing help. They are only used to you giving help. And you have created a life for yourself where you are giving and never receiving. And when you're in the emergency room, unable to say, pen, what good does that money do you? There's only so much healthcare you can buy. How do we know? Billionaires flying all over the world trying to fix what they can't fix. People harvesting organs. Oh my goodness, we could talk about a whole lot of different stuff. People doing all kinds of desperate things to regain the health that they could have had if they would have taken care of themselves. And I'm on that journey now. I can look back over my journey, and I'm working out and doing the sugar, staying away from the sugar and things like that. And I look back over my life, and there were so many times where I got angry that I have to do extra effort to get myself healthy than somebody else doesn't have to do. Instead of being thankful for the opportunity to make a change in my life, I got angry because somebody else had it easier. Somebody else was born into a family with good genetics. Somebody else was born into a family that was more athletic. Somebody else was born into a family where mom breastfed them. Well, I was a sickly baby and mom couldn't breastfeed me. She did formula. Not only that, another thing she told me was back in the day, if you had formula, I mean, if you breastfed, you were showing how poor you were. It was the up and coming thing to do to have better life through science. Although I was the only one of the 5 kids that had to have formula because I was so sickly, right? Instead of being thankful that I have the opportunity to climb up, I sat around in bitterness and resentfulness and wouldn't take the actions that I needed to have taken 20 years ago so that I could have the vibrant health that I want to have today. And I'm telling you today, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. And I'm going to ask you to walk with me for a little bit more tonight and plant a tree in your life that is going to spring up and not only provide shade and fruit and income and relationships and power. We need more power in our lives. And it starts with understanding our purpose and crafting a purpose that encompasses everything that's important to us. So when I have my purpose for my business, that's my own personal purpose for what is it that I want building wealth to accomplish in the world. It's not just money, women's lives changed, people freed from economic bondage. It's also walking in my best health and nurturing my family and spiritually growing instead of so many people who achieve what I want to achieve who seem to fail on all of those accounts. So, with that foundation, let me ask you, I want you to take some time. And of course, we're live and I don't want to have too much dead air. So, if we were in the workshop, we would actually spend more time on this. We would talk about it and process it and refine it a little more. And I'm going to invite you. There's a link. There should be a link. There's a link that you can use to book into the workshop that we're going to do next week. Okay. It's in my, it's kind of hard to see there. It's in my Calendly link underneath my name. All right. But just take a few seconds to think about how and why you make the decisions in your life. What is the benchmark for your decision making? What is it that causes you to decide I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do that? Okay? I want you to do that for me. Just take a few minutes. If you want to drop it in the chat, you can. But I mean, if you don't feel like sharing your deepest thoughts with like 5 million of your internet strangers, right? One of the channels I'm broadcasting to has like 400,000 subscribers. So we don't. I understand if you don't want to share it, but just think about it for a second. Why do you make the decisions you make? And some of you have heard this example before, but I got this Steelers helmet back here, signed by Juju Smith-Schuster when he was on the Steelers. And this was a retirement gift from one of my oldest Air Force friends. Well, I guess I can just say their name. I mean, they're amazing. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna give them a shout out. How's that? Winston and Nicole. Winston Campbell and Nicole King Campbell. All right. Now, let me tell you why these people are so amazing. I'm just rambling while you are thinking because some people are already done thinking and some people are still processing. Okay. And those of you who are still processing, you can go back and get the replay so you can hear my rambling if you're really interested. But one of the things that they're doing is they do every year, they do a space camp for kids like ours. Oh my goodness. It's amazing. And you know what else? If you need to learn how to fundraise in your nonprofit, Nicole's Bequiescence Consulting will hook you up. Okay. All right. So I want you to think about how and why you make the decision. And what the Steelers helmet has to do about that is why did I even pick Steelers as a team? Now, being a veteran, usually when I moved somewhere, I would pick up the local team. So and I would pick up the local team, and if we had two teams nearby, I literally, y'all, this was my decision making. It's like, for example, when I was stationed in Montgomery, we had University of Alabama, or is it Alabama University? And then we had University of Auburn. So you had Roll Tide versus War Eagle, right? And so which one do I pick? Do you all want to know my decision making back then? My decision making was which one matched the closest to my car and my favorite color. Because when I went to the games, I wanted to look good and I wanted my car to fit in. Now, y'all, that is a horrible reason to pick a team, but it worked for me, y'all. But why am I a Steelers fan? Why am I a Steelers fan? Simply because my dad was a Steelers fan, and that's it. That's the only reason. And in fact, I was not even a Steelers fan until my first son was born, because my father had been incarcerated when I graduated from the Air Force Academy. And when he finally got out, I didn't want to have anything to do with him. And so I had this budding Air Force career. I had all these high clearances, and I didn't want to have anything to do with somebody who was doing all the stuff that he went to jail for, right? I had a life to live. I was trying to break free of all that stuff, right? I mean, that's just not necessarily the right answer, y'all. Please don't take that to mean what I'm saying here. But I had just had this baby, and I thought to myself, well, let's just say it dropped into my spirit that I should probably allow him to meet his grandson. And I didn't have anything else to bond with him over, but I remembered how much he liked football. And so I'm a Steelers fan through and through. Been on podcasts talking about Steelers football and finance and all those kinds of things because I'm a Steelers fan and very active in my Steelers groups. Why? Because my dad liked the Steelers. And so I'm going to ask you again, why do you make the decisions you make? Why do you pull for the team that you pull for? Why did you go to the college you went to? Why didn't you go to college if you didn't go? Why did you go to trade school? If you went to trade school, which one did you pick and why? What were the decisions that went into it? Why have you not put into your business the time and attention that you should? Why have you not poured into your children the time and attention that you should? Now, look, I don't believe in shoulding all over people. SHOULDING all over people, okay? Because I remember being a divorced single military mom, 800 something thousand dollars in debt. And people are like, well, you should just get up an hour earlier and you should just this and you should just that. They just should. And I'm not trying to do that to you today, okay? Because at that time of my life, I remember breaking down in tears in prayer, like, I've already getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm doing this and that with my son, and I'm an instructor at Air University. And by the time I get done with my cadets, it's already 8 or 9 o'clock, and I get home and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. What more can I give? And in that moment, the still small voice that spoke to me let me know that what I could give at that moment was enough. And you might be in that place of enough. But we can never move forward if we don't understand why we're where we're at and why we're making the decision we're making. And quite frankly, at that time in my life, I was making decisions according to my present situation. I was making decisions according to how on earth was I going to get food on the table tonight? Because I know Sam's Club is tired of me walking around their free samples 3 or 4 times with my little boy, making sure he gets something in his belly, right? Why are we making our decisions that we're making? Why do we agonize over decisions that could help us? There's a comment in Think and Grow Rich that says to something to the effect of successful people make decisions quickly and seldom, if ever, change them. Whereas unsuccessful people, they make decisions very, very, very slowly, if at all, and change them frequently. How can successful people make quick decisions like that? It's because they're making decisions according to their purpose and not according to their present situation. That doesn't mean you ignore the check engine light on your car, but it means you make decisions about how you're going to feel and how you're going to hold your head up and how you're going to approach the next person that you reach out to for your business, not according to the fact that that check engine light came on, but the fact that you are called to change communities, that you are called to have global impact, that you are called to make this difference or make that difference or make this happen or make that happen. And when we begin to make our decisions according to our purpose, not only can we then hold our head up high despite our current situation, but we can also quickly filter out the things that are not going to help our purpose. And so, we want to understand that it is important for us to have a solid purpose that allows us to make decisions quickly. The world that's been set up around us, the way that this universe has been crafted, certain laws. Scientists like to try to determine those laws and call them scientific laws. People of faith call them they're God's laws. Okay, it's all whatever you call it. There's certain things that work certain ways. If I drop this mouse too many times, it will break. Why will it break? Because the law of gravity is going to bring it down. And the way that it is constructed, if it's jostled too much, the electronics inside and even the hard things that are the metals and the plastics will get brittle. Every time you shake it around, metals and plastics get brittle. Every time you bend the paper clip, the brittleness of it is more and more and more. In fact, if you've never done it before, I want you to go take a paper clip. I'm going to do this as I'm talking because we think metals are so malleable, right? They're so malleable. They just bend and move and you can shape them however you want, right? But if you take a paper clip, as malleable as it is and as much as it moves, and you just keep playing with it over and over, every time you bend it, inside on the molecular level, this paper clip is changing and the brittleness of it is going up. It's still bendy. I can still use it, but after a while, it breaks. That's a physical law. It is the way that this world works. It's the way you work and the way I work. You can be resilient and malleable and rise up and rise up and rise up and rise up. And girl, I overcame that thing. Oh, I didn't let them stop me. But after a while, if your properties aren't restored to their original state, the impact of that increases your brittleness. And then you start to break down. Your family starts to break down. Your spirituality starts to break down. I hope this is blessing somebody today. I hope this is opening up somebody's eyes today about why your standard purpose, vision, goals workshop doesn't work. Because it doesn't account for all of your life. And it's time we started doing so. In fact, a lot of these things, what they are telling us we need to do is learn how to balance. We have to learn how to have a work-life balance. We have to learn how to balance, right? But I don't think it's about balance because balance is exhausting. Anybody else feel me on that today? Trying to juggle the family, the ministry, the business, my health, and all the things. And every time you turn around, there's more things. And if you don't do the things, then you're a bad person and you're an evil mom and you're just no good. And then that feeds into yourself. And then you do more things to feel better. And then those things counteract the things you said were your dream. The next thing you know, you're a broken paperclip. Balance is exhausting. I don't want you to be balanced. Balance leads to keeping score. I did some, you did some. Your dream doesn't keep score. Your dream can't operate that way. You can be like, look, I did this and I did this and I did this. And it frustrates me so much. I feel so bad when I have clients who come to me. I did this. I should have this. And I'm like, We need to stop keeping score with God. We need to stop keeping score with the universe. We need to stop keeping score with ourselves and beating ourselves up for the things that didn't go the way we wanted them to go. Because I can control my side of the street. I can control what I eat. I can control how I work out. I can control whether I show up when I said I'm going to show up. I can control whether I stretch my body. But I'll tell you what I can't control. I can't control some teenage boy joyriding in the rain, going too fast and didn't get over enough to hit me. I couldn't control that. I could not control the last accident we were in. None of the accidents I was in was my fault, y'all. So don't get any ideas. But I couldn't control the last accident we were in. The young lady behind us was looking at her phone, told the cop she was looking at her phone. The light turns green. Nobody moves except for her. I can't control that, but I can control how I show up. And so I might say to myself, man, you've been working out almost every day for 5 years. Well, yeah. Because for the first year after the second to last accident, I couldn't work out at all because of the neurological stuff, but I can't control that. But when I make decisions according to my purpose, I'm not frustrated and filled with negative energy over stuff I can't control. That doesn't mean I don't get sad sometimes. If y'all saw my walking video today, I still don't like how I love this part. Look, I love this view. Ooh, I love this view. I feel like I look so good on this camera right now. But you know what? If you saw the rest of me spilling over this chair, whoo, I'm just so glad that my husband's so tall. This view is about all he gets. The Lord is good to me. Okay. Well, now I'm thinking about Mr. Man. Okay, we're gonna cut off the talk today. It's not gonna be purpose, vision, goals. It's just gonna be purpose because I got a vision and some goals I need to execute with Mr. Man. Ooh, I should have said that online. Okay, anyway, balance balance is exhausting. Balance is exhausting. And many of us are exhausted because we're trying so hard to balance everything. And really what I'm gonna suggest is that you consider looking for harmony. And what's the difference between balance and harmony? Well, balance is keeping that score, trying to juggle all that thing. But harmony allows us to flow where the areas of our purpose complement one another. Okay. And so, whereas balance is about, I'm going to force this and I'm going to make this happen, harmony is more about flow. And I've got a great lesson on flow we're going to talk about in the purpose, vision, goals workshop to really understand how to let things flow in our life. It totally changed my life. In fact, I actually bought the license to teach about that lesson because it had such a huge impact after that car accident when I was so frustrated. The one where I couldn't say the things that the doctor wanted. Harmony says, I am going to align everything in my life as much as is in my control with my purpose. And it makes it so clear and easy to make decisions. That doesn't mean that we don't sometimes look at those decisions. Like I turned down a very lucrative several dollars, several zeros behind the dollar amount speaking engagement because the engagement I applied for was on a Thursday, and the engagement that was presented to me that they had booked me for was on a Friday. And it had never occurred to them that little old brown girl was turned down that kind of money. And I was like, but I'm not going to be able to get back in time for my son's football game. And they're laughing at me like, oh, you're right, really? And I'm like, really? Because I made a commitment to him, and either you move me up or I'm not going to be able to participate. Now, you have to be willing to make when you make a statement like that, you have to be willing to walk away. And they're like, well, we can't move you up. We had you as the closing keynote to really pull everybody together and motivate everybody and send them on their way. Now, that is an incredibly high honor. And the person who opened that door for me is one of the speakers that I just greatly admire. Like, oh my goodness, she did this for me. And I was like, but I can't do that because nurturing my family is an important part of my purpose. And that young man, should say young man, in 2 months, the government will say he's a man, make him sign up for selective service. But that young man, he hasn't had his mom on birthdays because she's been away on military travel. He hasn't had his mom at his first basketball game one year because I got snowed in, or at his this game or that game or this game or that game because I dropped him off at the field and went back to work. He's on his eighth school. Ninth, if you include the fact that his junior high and his high school are two different schools. Out here, everybody considers it all one school because we're in a small enough town that everybody's in one school, right? Um, I'm not I'm not missing a single thing this year except for the two things he knows I always have on my calendar every year, and he's traveled with me to. That's it. And if it's not one of those things, I don't care how much money you're offering me. I am not missing my son's stuff this year. It's that important to me. And it doesn't mean that I didn't get a little sad. I was like, man, I would like to have them dollars. That would really help towards my calling goal of money, how much I feel like I'm going to be making. It really would have. But at the end of the day, it doesn't replace the look on my son's face when he looked up in that stands and saw me sitting there and waved to me. It just doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because I live in harmony with my purpose, with every facet of my life covered by that purpose. And I know the money will come. And it already has. All right. So I want you to consider that. I invite you to consider looking into why you make the decisions you make. And is it possible for you to craft a powerful enough purpose statement that allows you to make decisions quickly that will still honor your overall intention and allow you to achieve everything that you want to be, everything that you're called to be, everything that you visualize and dream yourself being? It's all at your fingertips. And it's time to make some important decisions instead of being afraid. And it's time to make some important decisions instead of getting that big meeting and then self-sabotaging. It's time to make some important decisions and be able to make them quickly, that when the opportunity opens up and you know it's aligned with your purpose and it's in harmony with all the facets of your purpose, that you can go boom. Because the minute you hesitate, somebody else swoops in and gets that deal, gets that contract, gets that goal. So I'm going to invite you to join me next week, and we're going to actually sit down together. And that's why I've limited the size of this workshop. And you can go to it should be there on the screen, calendly.com slash no 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 yeah calendly.com /JJ Conway /PVG for purpose vision goals. Okay. And we're going to actually go through and we're going to craft your purpose, and we're going to craft a powerful purpose statement that covers 5 key areas of your life. Is going to cover your spiritual. And I know there's some people out there, you may not share my faith, and that's because I know I'm broadcasting on multiple channels, that people have invited me to broadcast on their channel, and I know that not every channel is a faith-based channel. And even if it was, I would like to think that there are other people who are seeking and may not share the same faith. Okay, yet at the same time, I don't know how you can succeed in the higher levels of flow without some kind of faith in something larger than yourself. I just don't know how that happens and still be the great person that you know that you can be. Okay? We're going to look at how your purpose serves in your primary love relationships. Making sure that at the end of you building that empire, you still got a family there to share it with. We're going to look at your health and fitness. Your health and fitness. We're going to look at financial freedom of flow in time and money. Freedom of flow in time and money. When my girlfriend's husband died unexpectedly, our other friends didn't have a week to take with her that week of the funeral and another week to come back later and help clean up the financial mess. They didn't have that kind of time because they had never crafted a life that would afford them the ability to take the time off work and have the money to execute the trip. It doesn't take very long. Not 2009, I came home from that military trip, and mama's house sold, stuff thrown out. We signed divorce papers that next week. And when the dust settled, I was 800 something thousand dollars in debt. Newly single military mom trying to figure out how to make it all work. That was 2009. I retired from the Air Force Y'all will love this. Y'all, if you haven't heard the story before, you're gonna laugh at me, but it's okay. You can laugh with me, not at me. All right. My goal was to have a positive net worth by the time I retired from the Air Force. And when I retired from the Air Force 1 November 2000, I was worth nothing. That's right. I wasn't negative $845,000 anymore. I was worth zero. If it hadn't been for the pandemic, we would have had a JJ's worth nothing party because I worked hard all those years to be worth nothing. And I would have done it faster if I hadn't been all up in my feels about it's not my fault. I'm not paying those bills. He's the one that ran them up. I don't care if it's in my name. I don't care if it's in the divorce decree. He did that thing. He should pay for it. Now, if I'd have taken care of business in the beginning instead of getting all emotional, I would have been out of debt faster. But you know what? Sometimes we just got to take the long route, don't we? If I had been making decisions according to my purpose instead of my present situation. And don't feel sorry for me. The things I learned that helped me get out of 800 something thousand dollars of debt, they're the things that are propelling me now to become greater and greater net worth, and the things that I share with you so that you can propel into greater and greater net worth. And it doesn't have to take that long. All right. So we're going to look at spiritual. We're going to look at your love relationships. We're going to look at your health and fitness. We're going to look at your finances so that you can have freedom of time, of money. Okay. And flow in freedom of time and money. And then we're going to also look at your self-expression tied into your personal growth and development. Because a huge part of our personal development is being able to express. Many of us are in such toxic environments that we can't express how we feel. When they start talking about this and start talking about that, we don't have the luxury to express our true feelings or and I know some of you might, but I know a lot of you don't. And I remember one of my greatest failings as an Air Force officer. I came into the office not long after the Trayvon Martin shooting. And I came into the office and I had one of those things where they had I was one of the highest ranking people in there, so they had to, so when I moved there they had to create me a little office, and it was a closet. It used to be a closet, but I could slide into my little closet office, and I could sit there and log into my computer, and I could check all my emails before anybody really knew that I was in, because past that office we had a bullpen where everybody would sit and smoke and joke before the workday began. Actually, it used to irritate me. I know now that it's part of the fabric of life, but it used to irritate me because they would smoke and joke for like an hour, and I would always think to myself, why am I here? I could have been home with my kid. But that's part of the fabric of a job, and part of a job, and it's not always professional. I mean, it's not always personal. Part of a job is build a relationship with other people at the job. So if you don't like to socialize with coworkers, and you don't like to socialize with your fellow military people, or you don't like to socialize with fellow teachers and all that, don't look at it as socializing. Look at it as business. I'm taking care of business. I'm going to build a relationship with this person so that when I need them to be in my corner, they will be in my corner. And you can't always control that, because some people have opinions like what these guys did. And I sat in an office and they were talking about the shooting, and they were talking about how ridiculous all of this was, and all these people all up in arms and everything. And I'll never forget this because it was one of my biggest failings as an Air Force officer, is that they started talking about, well, so what if he was shot? He was just going to grow up to be a thug anyway. Might as well take him off the streets while you have the chance. And I would like to tell you that I got up and stormed out in the office and gave them a piece of my mind. But I sat in my office in shock, and I thought, wow, that could have been my son. Is that really what these people think of kids that look like mine? And I sat there in that shock, like, we're supposed to be comrades in arms. I'm supposed to be able to trust you if we go over to the desert. And I'd already been to the desert once. I wasn't trying to go back, but if I ever needed to go, I needed to be able to trust you. And by the time I gathered myself together and walked out there, they had moved on, but they were still saying real negative things about inner city kids. And I walk out of my office, and in mid-sentence, one of my coworkers who was saying something negative changed what he was saying and started talking, in mid sentence, he was talking about how, they probably just need to put the kids from all this particular schools into jail. And then when I walked out, he's like, and that's why we really need to do something about the inner city. They really need more resources and support. And if I hadn't been there to hear with my own ears and to see the change and how everybody shifted in their discomfort when I walked in there, I would have thought that I was making this up. And I couldn't handle how disgusted I was, and I walked out. I didn't have freedom of self-expression. I didn't have freedom to stand up and speak my truth. And some of yous, the reason you're sick, the reason things aren't working in your business, it's not because you're not doing everything you need to do. You probably are. It's because you've been bottled up for so long. You've been bottled up for so long. You haven't been able to speak your truth. And it's time you started incorporating that as an important aspect of your purpose. And when you join my workshop next Wednesday, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to make sure you craft a purpose that honors you and your truth, honors your health, honors your family, creates flow of time and money, allows room for faith, and will take you all the way. I think what I'm going to do now, because we're already at 51 minutes, I really thought I was going to be able to get through this all in one session. And we started late. For those of you who are regulars, my regular time of broadcasting on 30 nights is 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. Somebody's going to say, well, for the last couple of weeks of trying to do back to school and all that stuff, you've been starting kind of late. Yes, I have. I admit it. But now the school's up and running. We're going to get right back into our routine. I think I'm just going to have to do this again. So if you are watching this to decide whether you want to be in my workshop next week, so I'm saying this for the benefit of those who are going to watch the replay later. Look for the part 2, because there's going to be a part 2. Okay. They won't be as long as this one, because the heaviest part of the foundation is establishing purpose and establishing the fact that it needs to incorporate all of these areas. It needs to incorporate all 5 areas. I hope that you will join me next Wednesday, August 30th at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, because we're going to walk through this concept, and you're going to receive a 17-page handout guide that's going to help you walk through it. And we're going to walk through it together, and you're going to bounce your ideas off of me, and I'm going to be your thinking partner to help you think into this success. You can absolutely do it. You can change your financial future. You can change your family's financial tree. You can change the trajectory that the government may have set for you. You can change the trajectory of how you feel the government has set for you. You can change the trajectory of what life has told you you are or you aren't. You have that power in your hands. And it all starts with properly crafting your vision, your purpose, and your goals. I hope you'll join me next week. You can register for that right now at calendly.com/JJ Conway/PVG for purpose, vision, goals. That's all I've got for you today. Y'all take care and be blessed.